How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
I know we can do this together because I know this. There's nothing beyond our capacity. There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
And all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
This means war.
If you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons.
We are at war with these people.
That video clip there was put together by Mr. T months and months and months ago. I've showed it to you in the past because back then it was applicable. But look at it today. Who is evil? That's right. You know exactly who. Who is the biggest threat? That's right. You know who. Who is causing riots, violence in the street, chaos? Who are acting like terrorists? It's so fucking obvious. It is the socialist, Marxist, pro-terror Democrats. But they want to call you evil. They want to call me a threat. It's unbelievable. These people are gifted mentally. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. Welcome to Friday, our free-for-all, folks. There's more SHTF than you can shake a stick at. And man, later, if I've got time, remind me to tell the joke about the dog and the stick. Now, it has hit the fan. I hope you're prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and your means of self-defense. Are you prepared? If you don't have everything you need, go to the preparedmind.club. Go to the Prepared Mind Club. We got everything there, including, solar, communications gear, links to gold and silver, vitamins, medicinal supplies, stuff that the left wing doesn't want you to know about because it frees you, it empowers you, it helps you say, go fuck yourselves. Now, the other day I reported that a Secret Service agent went bonkers. Well, they've released some more information, folks, just to give you an idea what's wrong with these people. There's something very wrong with them. I'm doing my best Bill Murray from Stripes. This Secret Service agent threw menstrual pads at other agents before getting into a brawl. This was while they were on, I guess, Andrews Air Force Base. There it is, folks. The DEI, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Secret Service fail was a woman who started mumbling incoherently, throwing pads, getting in a fight. Whoa, these people are nuts. And I still wonder what got into her brain that made her just fucking short circuit. It's not like she was around a bunch of people like you know who pissed her off or triggered her beyond belief. She's with a bunch of Secret Service agents whose duty it is to protect the vice presidential tard, Camel Toes Harris. It's not like there's a lot of stress there. No one's really threatening the dumb bitch. But be that as it may, this lady, the Secret Service agent, lost her shit. Now, could it be something like, I don't know, a blood clot, a stroke, some sort of electrical, chemical imbalance in her head from the Jim Jones juice? Don't know. And speaking of the Jim Jones juice, I want to thank Darcy T for sending this to me. Yet another super athlete dead. Of course, they don't want to tell us the cause of death, but a former NFL player, only age 28, folks. His name is Corey Cunningham. Dead. 28 years old. Just dead. You know, when something like this happened, usually it's because some idiot like P. Diddy put a cap in his ass at a nightclub in LA or something. Right? That's how sports athletes used to die. You know, wanting to play the big shot and play the gangsta. This guy died at home. How macho is that? You know. Anyways, Mr. Incapacitability, the president himself. You've got to hear this jackass. Now, number one, he talked a bunch of shit. Trump challenged him to a debate. Biden says, yeah, I think it's going to happen. Yeah. And Trump says, look, any place, anytime, anywhere. Nothing from Biden yet. But he is going on the esteemed radio talk show to talk about what he's done. And I'm not talking about Rush Limbaugh, who has passed. Rest in peace. No, he went on a far less important, influential news program, that of Howard Stern, a lying, filthy sack of left-wing shit himself. But Joe Biden, he had to tell one of his whopper stories. He claimed that he was a lifeguard now, folks. Yesterday, he was a truck driver. Now he was a lifeguard who saved 6 people from drowning. Folks, now this is why you and I need to be fully prepared. Not because of the lies Joe tells, but because of the idiot fucksticks who believe him. He's practically God. He saves lives, delivers food. He's like Big Bad John in the mine. He held the coal mine open so everyone could escape. And then he got killed when it crashed and collapsed on him. And he's here to tell the story still. Okay, and then never mind the Democrats. The people who are even bigger and scarier are the terrorists. Not only our college students who think they're terrorists and the LGB fruit salad fucksticks who think they can support terror, right? Like Queers for Palestine. Yeah, they can't wait to throw you idiots off a roof. Now, as dangerous as these violent lunatics are, I have enjoyed over the past several days watching the police, chemically spray them, taser them, tackle them. I've seen some great tackles. Drag them to the ground, arrest the shit out of it. I've been enjoying it. But an even dangerous group, more dangerous than that, are actual real terrorists. And the enemies, other nation states that aren't particularly fond of America, they look at Joe Biden and they just think, they're like, holy shit, this guy is a liar. On top of being a liar, on top of being the biggest fucking bullshit artist. And he's weak and he's stupid and he's ineffective. That means he's emboldening our enemies. Right? Who needs enemas when you got people like Joe Biden around? Anyways, Baywatch voters care about Joe being on Howard Stern. I don't think so. They don't think they really care. Anyways, while we're at the Howard Stern show, does anyone, I have never actually tuned in to listen to him. He is just a stupid looking dweeb sack of shit. Howard Stern. So he lets Biden go on there as if Biden's going to speak to an audience. If they can't think above Howard Stern, yeah, I guess they're a good target to try and get them to vote, but it's not like they're going to really intellectually grasp all those Build Back Better ideas. They're going to be like, so you raise taxes and my life is easier? They can't figure it out. They're like, Joe Biden's great. He raised my taxes, but I don't have as much money, but Joe Biden's great, right? They're just stuck in a doom loop there. Anyways, that wasn't the only fucking whopper Biden told. He said he was arrested for standing on a porch with a black family during the civil rights movement, which was the 1960s. Another whopper of a lie. And I just want to ask the question. And because, even if this is true, because he stood on a porch with black people and he was arrested for that, that makes him a good president for black Americans? His policies aren't helping them. They're being smashed with inflation. Now, understand this. Okay, let's take a rich person. They make, I'm going to say a rich person is anyone who makes $500,000 or more. No, fuck it. Let's do $1 million. $1 million a year. So their gasoline bill went from $2,000 to $4,000 under Biden's administration. He makes $1 million a year, and that's $4 million while Biden's in office. A couple thousand isn't going to kill him. Now let's take a middle-income family. They're somewhere around, well, let's just say 100,000, way more than I make. And a middle-income family, well, if they have to pay $2,000 more a year in fuel, now you're talking 2% of their gross income. You're talking 5 to 6% of their adjusted gross income or net income. That's just gas. Now, a poor family, I'm going to say, is $25,000 or less. A $2,000 increase in gasoline. We're not counting electricity, food, entertainment, or anything else, just gas. For their cost of gas to go up $2,000 a year, that's an 8% increase. It's huge. Huge. And if they're paying any income tax at all, and they might be, it's more like 10% or 12% of their overall, well, how do we put this? Their adjusted gross income or their net income. Yeah. And so Joe Biden and the Democrats do nothing but patronize black Americans, insulting black Americans, brown Americans, white Americans. We all get insulted by this fucking guy. I don't think blacks believe him. In fact, there are more and more and more individuals and groups finding their way in front of cameras on social media and even mainstream media, and everybody loves that construction worker. Go construction workers. Everyone loves construction workers who say to the camera for the whole world, what do you have to say to Joe Biden? He's like, fuck you. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I talked about terrorism and who is dangerous. Who's dangerous? Well, these little terrorist students are dangerous, right? They truly are. They are violent and they're fighting with cops. They're getting out of control. So the cops are beating them, tasing them, handcuffing them, giving them the what for, the how about that, right? They're giving them a little bit of that stuff. So what do the schools do about this? Well, the University of Southern California, because they had security fighting, police fighting with these idiotic Palestinian terror supporters. So USC has canceled their graduation ceremonies because these pro-Palestinian protests, they're not protests. They're weak-ass attempts at chaotic, mob-like, shall we say, chaos. Rioting. Oh, how about insurrection? Oh, wait a minute. Right? So now, this is great. Terrorism works. These idiot students who wanted to terrorize the college have now terrorized the college, and now the college has canceled their graduation. The terrorists have now cheated themselves with their own violence. That is how stupid they are. You give them a plate of good food, and they'll curse and spit at it because you gave it to them and they don't like you. They'll spit in their own food. They'll piss in their own pool, right? They'll crap in their own bed. They'll shoot themselves in the foot. Have I said enough there? Fuck college liberals. They are that stupid. They truly are, folks. They truly, truly are. Now, where do we go to, folks? Oh, yeah. It is Free for All Friday. That means we go back and forth. We're going to do the shotgun approach. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up? Who wants to be first to follow my intro? Who's got something to say out there? And it is Uman himself. He says, our potato in chief. That's Joe Biden. In addition to halting oil in Alaska, now put the brakes on the carbon bomb natural gas projects. Folks, they used to market natural gas as clean burning natural gas, right? It's a very small, short chain hydrocarbon molecule that, when combined with heat and oxygen, burns in a pretty little blue flame. It heats your water, it cooks your food, it makes your barbecue simple to operate, right? You're not burning that dirty coal, you're burning clean burning natural gas. Well, now it's dirty and it's a carbon bomb. You know what the fact of the matter is, folks, is we need energy to sustain our standard of living, right? Let's start simple. Entertainment, television, computers, internet requires data centers, lots of power consumed. Standard of living, we can live without that. Okay. Air conditioning, we can live without that. That's a lot of electricity. Refrigerator, oven, automobiles, that's right. Travel requires energy. From wherever it comes, we need energy. It comes in many forms, as discussed: coal, natural gas, oil, bunker fuel, diesel, gasoline, propane. These are all considered very dirty. And of course, we're supposed to look at wind and solar as super clean, except it takes massive mining operations to get the raw materials for those wind turbines out of the ground. Probably the least, tiniest, smallest carbon footprint is uranium and nuclear energy. And these small modular reactors, they're much smaller than the old giant, enormous, nuclear power plants. But that's the way we're going to end up going, folks. The Biden administration this week has told everyone the U.S. government is going to look at nuclear as a way to solve our energy needs. Without energy, we're done. But he's making sure that there's no other option. And that's where Biden and Uman's comment come in handy to understand, is he's an idiot. You do not take away your power, coal, natural gas, until you can replace it. Until you can replace it. But this is what Biden's doing. He killed Alaska. He killed the Keystone Pipeline. Folks, they can't. If we had enough lithium for the batteries, we couldn't make EVs for everybody. We couldn't even make scooters and bicycles for everybody in the country for transportation. There's not enough of those raw materials. And there's not enough charging stations for them all. This is a worldwide problem. I've seen it in America where they're charging Teslas with a diesel-powered generator. So if you understand the law of conservation, which is a Newtonian principle of physics, right, you're going to lose efficiency. Let's see, the heat of an internal combustion engine, that's lost energy. Then you have friction, right? More heat. Then you have voltage drop, where you go from the generator over to the charging station. The charging station itself has internal little transformers and gizmos and shit, and it gets hot. So you're losing a lot of the energy. And then when you charge a battery on one of these EVs, cars, they get hot. Once again, heat is BTUs, heat is energy. But yeah, they're going to do that and pretend like my car is a clean burning super duper, right? But this is the mentality that is destroying the world, that's causing shit to hit the fan, which is the point we're all here talking. Because there's more SHTF, more shit hitting the fan than you can shake a stick at. Over in England, they're charging city buses with diesel-fired generators. In Sweden, all over Europe, in various places, they're using petroleum products, which produce an enormous amount of carbon, way more than clean-burning natural gas. But that's what we got. Uman says, just put the cart before the horse. The horse will catch up and take over eventually. Yeah, it's like mining a raw mineral like copper. You're mining copper. It costs you, $2 a pound, but you're selling it at $1 a pound. Well, you're selling it at a loss, John. Oh, well, we'll just make it up by mining more and make up the difference in volume. No, you're going backwards, even at a greater pace. The more of these EVs they make, the worse they make the problem. They're not solving anything. They're making it worse. But that's what these idiots do, folks. They really do. And speaking of bombs, Mr. Uman brought up the carbon bomb. Well, I'm going to bring up the World War III bomb. Ukraine has bombed an oil field inside of Russia. He just blew up a bunch of oil, caught on fire, more carbon released. Way to go, Ukraine. They're trying to kill us with their carbon, folks. Now, this bombing took place the same day, last Saturday, that Biden, Democrats, and rhinos signed the Ukraine war funding bill. Or maybe it was just a couple days ago when Biden signed that shit. Folks, Russia is not going to take this lying down. Russia is going to bring its response when it's good and ready. And again, it'll smash Ukraine times 10. Now, lately, I've been watching all these Ukraine people dancing in the streets, partying, getting drunk, enjoying themselves. I thought Russia was killing Ukrainian people and making them scared. Well, you're only scared if you're a military-age man in Ukraine. Everyone else is partying it up. At what point does Russia roll past the front lines and take Kiev and then roll into Europe? Remember, we've been promised that. That's what Russia wants. But they've been satisfied to sit back and let Western nations like England, the United States, the European Union, send all of their equipment, their munitions, their tanks, their helicopters, all of their used goodies, send them to Ukraine so they can have them destroyed by Russia. Now, here's the thing, is they're not defeating Russia. Because England, sends a $20 million tank to Ukraine to use. And they roll up to the front line and start shooting the tank off. First, they consume the munitions, the shells. And then Russia flies over with a $5,000 drone with a bunch of explosives on it, lands it on the tank and destroys it. $20 million versus $5,000. Who is playing this war better? Who is bombing who? You can bomb a few oil fields. Russia will repair that for, $50,000, $100,000, maybe $1 million. But you can bet your ass what they do to Ukraine is going to cost 10 times more. All right, Mr. Uman, it is your turn again, or rather the audience's turn on this free-for-all Friday. We got name redacted. He says, don't forget all the nuke waste around the country in the open stored in nuke plants still, because Obama closed the Colorado Mountain Storage Facility that safely held it. Also in Nevada, they have Yucca Mountain as a nuclear waste repository. And so they're keeping all of their, spent nuclear fuel rods at each nuclear power plant. Now, here's the deal. If Russia wants to bomb those and put a bunch of radioactive material into the air, they're going to get to breathe it also. So it does not behoove them to do such a thing. Now, I do have some good news with respect to nuclear waste. They know how to convert it and re-enrich it. And they know that some of these new reactors will actually burn it down to nothing, consume it. So it's very interesting, folks. Very interesting. If anyone is going to commit a false flag, or rather an attack on our nuclear facilities, do you think Russia's more inclined to do that? Or do you think Obama is more inclined to do that? I mean, I'm not thrilled about the idea of being irradiated with a nuclear weapon or an explosion at a nuclear power plant. But it's quite possible with these people because they are complete and total idiots. Now, I don't think they're going to do that, though. I don't think they'll because they could contaminate themselves, these Democrats. So I think they're going to find other more creative ways to fuck us over and destroy America. I think it's possible. Thank you, name redacted. Now, I want to get into what is happening with the Supreme Court. They're talking to Biden's lawyers and Trump's lawyers about presidential immunity. Presidential immunity. And of course, it's going to break down along partisan lines. The stupidest woman in the world, or at least she's a top 5 candidate. I mean, there is Cori Bush. There is Sheila Jackson Lee. There is Mad Maxine Waters. There is Nancy Pelosi. And they're all fucking idiots, folks. But I think Ketanji Jackson Brown is right up there amongst them. And she is a Supreme Court justice. She's so stupid. She makes Justice fat ass Sotomayor look smart. In any event, they may end up voting in favor of protecting Trump. They're trying to attack him and say, well, presidents shouldn't have immunity. So the justices themselves have asked Jack Smith's prosecutor. He's asked these Biden attack dogs, these political persecutors. Justice Kavanaugh asked Jack Smith's prosecutor why Barack Obama was never charged for his drone strikes against civilians. That's right. Obama killed an American in a foreign country with one of his drone strikes. Isn't that murdering an American? Why wasn't he charged? Fucking crickets out of Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sotomayor and all the fucking Democrats on the planet. How about Clinton paying off Paula Jones and all the other women he either raped or screwed over? Where's that trial? Right? The endless application of logic, clear thinking against all these retarded lawsuits and persecutions is obvious. And I'm glad Justice Kavanaugh was able to make that point aloud because these are oral arguments. It's not just submitting papers to the court. This is courtroom arguments. Now, Justice Alito, a fine conservative American Supreme Court justice, he just smashed Jack Smith's idiot persecutor. Well, he's a persecutor during this Trump immunity question. So, Justice Samuel Alito, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, had one question for Michael Dreeben, right? Obama, Biden, scumbag lawyer. This is his quote. If the president gets advice from the attorney general that something is lawful, is that an absolute defense? That's what he asked Dreeben the dweeb, because the question came up with Obama and other presidents. Well, They conferred with their legal counsel and discovered what they were doing was correct. It was fine. It was within the rule of law. Right, Obama? Killing Americans? So the dweeb Dreeben said, quote, yes, I think that it is. He's an idiot, folks. Because in absolute defense is saying, well, he told me it was fine. So Alito responds with, after Dweeben trying to say, yeah, as long as you have someone else tell you it's fine, he said, but won't that give presidents incentive to be sure to pick an attorney general who will reliably tell the president that it is lawful to do whatever that president wants to do if there's any possible argument in favor of it? Basically, folks, Justice Alito put the idiot Democrat asswipe lawyer in a position to say a politically appointed attorney general becomes the single authority. Dare we say dictatorially empowered authority? To give a president unimpeachable, unprosecutable, infallibility, and immunity. That's what he said, yeah. So all Biden has to do is ask the attorney general, hey, can I go shoot Americans? And the attorney general's like, sure, I think so. That's the argument they're making, is that as long as someone else says it's fine, the president can do whatever the fuck they want. But since Trump made decisions on his own about what his own immunity is, it doesn't count. No, legal is legal. Lawful is lawful. Anyways, is it a case of a politically appointed bureaucrat making political decisions for the man who hired him? That would be the case, right? That'd be like Uman being president, and he says, hey, John, I want to do insider trading and enrich myself. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds fine. He's like, see, I can't be impeached now. I can't be tried. It just goes to show how short-sighted and small-minded and low IQ these idiots are. All righty. Speaking of idiots, which idiot in the government would you guys like to talk about next? Let's do it. Mr. Uman, who's up? And it is Cyber Hana. Cyber Hana. She says, I hear the pro-Hamas people plan on interrupting some dinner at the White House this Saturday. Should be interesting if it's real, no matter what way it goes. All right, we talked about this very briefly yesterday. There is the White House press dinner. This clip that Mr. T put together is from that. It is from that. Let me grab it for you. There we go. Biden inflation. This is the sort of thing that happens at these mainstream media ass-kissing festivals called the White House Press Dinner.
I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really has been a tough first year for you, Mr. President. Gas is up.
Exactly. So comedians can come out, they can make fun of people, right? Make fun of the president, the administration. That's what they do. So the left-wing, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist people said they're going to interrupt it. They're going to make it terrible. They're going to make it hard, right? Here we have the left attacking the left. So yes, you are correct in my opinion. No matter what way it goes, it's going to be interesting. Grab your popcorn. I'm really hoping these lunatic lefts just really, really go off the fucking rails and get themselves in a lot of trouble. That would be great. That would be great. Now, speaking of mainstream media or the entertainment world, Saturday Night Live alumnus is a comedian from the show Saturday Night Live, SNL, not Sunday Night Live, but Saturday Night Live, John Lovitz. If you're old like me, you'll know who John Lovitz is. He was in a movie that made him very famous and much more noted. No, he wasn't. That was Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 2. In the movie Loaded Weapon with Samuel Jackson and Emilio Estevez, he played the part that was kind of like John Lovitz. But I digress. So John Lovitz, famous comedian, for being annoying. He has really called out the Hollywood celebrity asswipes because they're not speaking against the anti-Semitism on college campuses around the country. Now, folks, no one stood for the Jews. Then they came for me. Everyone remembers that, right? First they came for this, then they came for that, then they came for the Jews, then they came for that. And by the time they came for me, there was no one to stick up for me. Well, no one stood up for the Jews, and then they came for me. And I blasted their dumbasses into small red vapor pellets. Folks, don't be afraid of these left-wing idiots. Don't be afraid of them. Be strong. Act ye like men. The enemy are cowards against an armed people, folks. So sell your cloak and buy a sword. I had 2 biblical references in there for you Bible-y Christian types, right? We need to be strong in our faith, but understand these people are cowards. They hide behind government. They hide behind police who will protect them. They're really not strong. They really aren't. And when the police are empowered, they'll arrest them pretty quick, which is good. In any event, folks, yeah, they're coming after the Jews first. This completely, folks, is Nazi Germany from the 1930s. That's how close we are to having our republic fall to a fascist, communist dictatorship. Fascism for the rich people, communism for us. We get the best of both worlds shitting on us. Anyways, that's what we got. So thank you, John Lovitz, once again pointing out Hollywood. Folks, in Hollywood is the Jews. And speaking of Hollywood Jews, Harvey Weinstein has had his rape conviction overturned. And everyone's like, how the fuck does that happen? How the fuck does that happen? Oh, hey, I think he paid the price, right? And they're going to let him go. Yeah, leave it to left-wing courts to let out rapists. Fuck it. Let them all out, right? Don't worry, you'll be able to defend yourself someday. Make sure you have lots of ammunition. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up next? Who else is there out there? Uh-oh. Rut-row, here we go. Every time I start talking about boxing. Anyways, Uman says we got another I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh, that would be St. George Floyd from 2020. The man who lost his life. He was a poet and didn't know it. He lost his life. George Floyd, gone. Has no idea what was done in his name. Because he didn't just go to hell, right? He took the express lane. That guy put a fucking loaded pistol to a pregnant woman's belly, robbed her of everything in her house, and then fucking stole her car. Right? Anyways, we got another one of these I can't breathe moments in Canton, Ohio. Canton is the home of the Hall of Fame for the Super Bowl. Am I correct? Or is that baseball? Fuck it. Now I'm in trouble. Canton, Ohio. After crashing his car into a utility pole, running into a building, and resisting arrest, not to mention this jackass was just released from prison a few weeks ago. Do we have any more details, Mr. Uman? You can't breathe. Did the police shoot him and kill him? Did the police just beat the living shit out of him, Rodney King style? And I knew I would chide you into
You had to drag me into it.
Yeah. Hey, you did it, man. I didn't put it up there. You did it.
Well, you're just not informed enough because you should know all these things, Mr. Prophet of Prepping.
Happy Friday to you, Uman. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, John and everybody.
Is that Tristan back there?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Tristan, what's happening, dude?
You'll never.
All righty, what do we got, man?
Anyway, this guy crashes his car into a pole, runs into an AmVets hall, and then resists arrest, and apparently has some kind of a heart attack or something. And his last words were, "I can't breathe."
Oh shit. Okay, well, and he died.
He apparently died. Yes.
He is assumed room temperature. Okay, well, Canton, Ohio. Canton, Ohio. Okay, well, we have a few questions to ask. Was the car stolen?
I didn't see anything about that in the story. All I heard was that he crashed it into a utility pole and ran into the building. When police responded, they came inside to arrest him. He resisted arrest. And as they were kneeling on his back.
Were they kneeling on his back? Were they having to tackle him because he was resisting?
He was resisting. They're trying to cuff him. The cop kneeled on his back, and all those evil back kneeling cops trying to kill people succeeded.
Did you, Mr. Uman, watch the video?
I did not see the video. No, I've been busy all day.
Yeah. People that have jobs and have to pay taxes. So how did this guy afford a vehicle after getting out of prison just a few weeks ago? Anyone? Okay. That's why I'm asking if it was stolen. Would you happen to know the political persuasion of Mr. I Can't Breathe?
I do not know.
Yeah, it's safe to assume he thinks that he shouldn't be arrested just because he doesn't feel like it.
He was not a conservative, white, middle-aged male.
Okay.
Terrorist.
He wasn't wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
No, he was not.
Do we happen to know his race?
Yes, we do.
Can you inform the audience?
He was of the George Floyd type.
Okay, so he's a black American.
He was a black man, yes.
Okay, so as a black American, we'll find out if they want to use this to push the race-baiting, race-hating narrative crap that's out there.
They're just looking for another St. George Floyd situation to push out there.
Well, we had the young idiotic criminal a couple days ago, a week or so ago plus.
In Chicago, yes.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, who decided to pull over and put 11 rounds downrange towards the police, and they killed the fuck out of him, and they tried making that.
If you read the headlines, he shot at police, and they make it sound like he took one shot and then got shot at 96 times in 45 seconds.
It was 11 times he shot at them.
Yes, he shot multiple times. But if you only read the headline, it sounds like he took one shot and the police had a completely unreal response or disproportionate response. And there's a new lawsuit that was announced that the family is seeking damages or something because, the police were not reasonable in their response and they didn't give him a chance.
Actually, I think I saw the video. They gave him a chance.
Oh, they gave him a chance.
And he took the chance and he shot at them multiple times. Yep. Criminal behavior, not the smartest thing to do. In any event, they really are pushing this race thing. And it's quite interesting. I opened up with Republicans are the biggest threat. They're evil. That was actually done during the Biden administration. And the Biden administration has really been pushing the race. The Democrats have been pushing the race hatred. And it's quite interesting that blacks are rejecting this bullshit. But that doesn't mean that BLM and other people have been convinced that black people are evil, that they're just going to look at this and see what they want. So get ready for it. This could be it. Do you think this is it? Mr. I Can't Breathe?
I don't think this is going to be the one. It's got too many negatives against it. Just like that kid in Chicago when they finally released the body cam footage, all of a sudden that thing disappeared into the page 2 stories.
Yeah. Well, remember in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after St. George Floyd, after the riots were going, we had the one criminal get out of his car. The police tried detaining him. He kept fighting to get loose, pulled a knife on a cop. They ended up shooting him. He lived, but that made Kenosha, Wisconsin erupt. It's like the guy was resisting arrest. He wasn't obeying orders, et cetera, et cetera. He was already in trouble. He was committing lots of crimes. They're trying to use kid gloves. Like, dude, just stop. We don't want more rioting. Once it gets started, this is my thing, folks. Once it gets started, they're not going to quit. They just need to get enough energy behind them. And I think they're going to find it. I just don't know how. I mean, St. George Floyd, the man's a fucking criminal as fuck. An evil dude.
But if you only put up his 8th grade graduation pictures and tell everybody how good of a boy he was and get mama out there crying in front of the cameras, none of that matters.
Accepted to Harvard Medical School.
School of Pharmacology, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, he was working on his doctorate on the effects of fentanyl when it's taken in large doses.
Yeah, he was doing his doctoral paper on that, and the best way to do a doctoral paper is to actually experience it.
Right. Well, of course. Yeah. So these criminals out here, who are they going to use? Are they going to use of course, the race card, or are they going to use have maybe some white supremacy happen?
I don't know. I've been leaning a little bit towards they're going to use these Israeli-Palestine protests to somehow create the next Summer of Love Part 2.
Yeah, they're really pushing it. We're seeing it in the colleges. I keep thinking they'll go away. More and more wealthy, I guess we could call them philanthropists, billionaires, millionaires, corporations are saying, you know what, we're taking our money away from your school. We're not going to donate. And I was like, why do you need to donate to these fucking Ivy League shitholes anyways? They get $100,000 or more per year per student. How much fucking money do they need? They need to dry up. I listen to, and folks understand, right? Me, Uman, you, we're just regular people, right? Now, I know Uman's really smart. We're all smart, right? Smart enough to get it. I listen to a professor at a university arguing with an Israeli student.
I saw that. Yeah,
he's standing there with it was an Israeli flag up on a elevated position at a fountain, and she was screaming at him. Number one, you couldn't understand her because her accent was so bad. Number two, her argument made absolutely no fucking sense. It was ridiculous. The kid just said, this is his argument with her, because they were screaming that the Israelis are committing genocide. So the boy, the young man, asks very politely, and he was intelligently asking a question. He goes, if it's genocide, why is it that the population of Palestinians in Gaza has increased for the last 50 or 60 years? Can't remember how many years, but it continuously grows. Genocide, the numbers go down. And she couldn't answer it.
And she couldn't answer the question. And this is a professor at Harvard.
Yeah, ridiculous. So that's who these people are. They'll believe anything, and violence, yes. I agree that that's the number one thing right now. They're pulling money from it. They're shutting schools down. They're losing their graduation. I think Republican parents are like, why the fuck are we sending our kids to these places? Just so they can come home and argue with me at Thanksgiving about all the money I gave them for college, and now they're going to tell me how dumb I am.
Yeah, they can't. These people can't use facts or anything intellectual to make their case. Everything is emotional. If I'm more outraged than you are, then I must be right.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely correct. So that's what we got. But the government knows no bounds. I'm gonna combine a couple of ideas here into one thought for you to describe who is responsible for these riots and protests and the violence coming. And I'm going to go back to Trump's immunity case, where today or yesterday, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, while discussing presidential immunity arguments, he brought up Operation Mongoose. And Operation Mongoose is quite interesting, folks. The Supreme Court of the United States knows all about the illegal, shitty things that all presidents have done to other countries and other people, right? Like I mentioned that Obama, right, was bombing countries and drone bombing countries and killed people that are innocent. Anyways, that's just part of what they do. we'll get into this Operation Mongoose, right? So in response to the Biden lackey Dreeben, his argument, Justice Thomas said this: over the not so distant past, certain presidents had engaged in various activities, coup d'etats, or operations like Operation Mongoose when I was a teenager. This is Clarence Thomas. And yet there were no prosecutions. Folks, Operation Mongoose was a CIA covert operation that was initially authorized under President Eisenhower, a Republican. And it has continued down through the years, through the Kennedy administration and others. Now, under that operation, the CIA conducted terrorist attacks against Cubans, several assassination attempts against Fidel Castro, and we know that the CIA has also overthrown other governments. We got the Shah of Iran issue. We've got all the way to our present day with Ukraine. So what's important to know is they'll kill civilians. They'll commit coup d'etat. They'll disrupt an entire country in order to get their way. So my question and point here is, Uman, will the government, the United States government, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that maybe the Central Intelligence Agency, the deep state, will they create a situation, either using race or college students, so they have, or maybe the illegal population, will they empower them and help them commit crimes? Crimes that start the next summer of love, that is.
If that's on the agenda, then I would have to believe that they don't even necessarily need to sponsor it or do it. They just have to allow it to happen.
Right now, it seems like they're allowing it a bit, but it's not working so much. It's not getting traction.
I'm actually surprised that I'm seeing these protests being knocked down at some of these universities.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I wonder if the universities are feeling the pinch and they don't want to lose their funding, either from students and their tuition and their benefactors, these people that donate money, their alumni and other corporations.
Well, they're dancing that line, they're dancing that line between both sides, and it's the left eating the left kind of thing. You can't please everybody. And they've been trying to please everybody and just trying to overlook these little things here and there. But it's getting to the point where they're just eating each other because the divide has gotten so big and the difference within that side has become so great that you can't bridge it anymore. You can't just, we'll just overlook that, but we agree on 90% of the stuff. It's just gotten, the bridges or the divide has gotten too broad.
Right. I see another group of people out there that would be brought after the election. I think the illegals are there for after the election if Trump wins. Because his promise was day one, mass deportation. In fact, right now, today, starting either today or yesterday, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, the guy who married his mother, he is now trying to be Europe's savior, saying we need to get these illegals out of here. And they're rounding them up, the homeless, they're getting them out of, they're trying to clean up France. Why? Are they just, will that ultimately piss all the illegals off?
Well, I really don't care if it pisses the illegals off, but he must be feeling the heat from the citizens, just like these other governments, where if they don't do something, they're going to be taken out of power.
Right. Well, the illegals know that, right, if they don't vote for Biden, which is just insane, I'd also consider it foreign election interference, they're going to get kicked out of the country. They won't be able to bring their families up. So they have a real reason to fight for it now.
Yeah, well, the people that are coming here with good intentions and legally, they tend to end up being more on the conservative side. And, they come from countries where they had tyrannical governments and they see where this is going. I mean, I have friends from Poland. I have some friends from South America that come from these types of countries, and they don't like the way this is going.
Right, exactly. So it's there. I mean, all sides I think are pitted against one another. I think they truly are, and this idea of partisan conflict involves a variety of groups, not just whitey versus minorities. It's the illegals that are here, and the people that are here legally from other countries don't like them. There's so much, everyone just getting pitted against each other, Mr. Oman.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, what's going to cause it to erupt?
That's the $1 million question, I mean, I think it'll probably be, we can speculate all we want and we can point to this, that, or the other. But so far, everything that has caused it to erupt has been something that was not even on our radar. So I got to believe it's going to be something from left field that's going to happen that nobody saw coming.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you got the turmoil again.
Right. Well, let's see. Here we go. Austin, Texas votes to become a sanctuary for transgender children.
Okay.
They want to protect transgender treatments for minors. Right. Now, that's against it's against Texas law. I believe Texas has said no more of that shit. But Austin wants to be a sanctuary city. Since when can a city within a state say we're not going to do? They could say, fuck you to federal law, but state law? But now, the reason I brought that up was, one, it's disgusting. Two, I laugh at these fucking idiots. And three, what if the state came in and started arresting everybody in Austin? Remove the mayor from power. There's not enough LGBTQ fruitcakes to have these presumed Summer of Love riots that bring America to its knees. So that group is out of the way, right? It really comes down to, I think, the numbers of people. How many people are on their side, right? They're losing Black American support on BLM. They're also trans, Black, gay, Marxists. So they're I don't think they're going to be as big a problem. I really see the illegals as the largest force that has the most to lose, because they're not even Americans. They can have their asses kicked out. And they brought in a significant number of them, percentage-wise, are military-age men. So you don't see them as a big threat. Or you do? Or you? I know you've said you just don't know what's going to cause it.
I see that as a threat, yeah. But I also realize that I don't care how many people Trump tries to deport, it's not going to make a dent in what has come over here in the last 4 years. I mean, if they're saying that there could be, 7-10 million plus illegals here?
Oh, up to 15.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, take their number, double it, you get to 15 or whatever. But sure, if you got 7 million people here illegally, you ain't deporting them. You may do some nice little show deportations and have some cameras there to show that, look, we're throwing these 1,000 people out of here. But what's 1,000 out of 7 or 15 million?
Yeah, your point is well taken, because it's the most realistic. So we're dealing in a time, though, of extremes. So I want to get people riled up. What if Trump says, we're deporting you, get the fuck out? See something, say something. If you know someone's in illegal, tell the police, we'll get them out. Will the law enforcement really work on it that hard? Do we have enough people to go after 7 million illegals?
No, we do not. No, we do not. I think the best we could hope for is that they do some show deportations and it stems the wave of people trying to come in here.
We shut down the border?
If you see on the news that all these thousands of people are getting deported, it's going to make the number of people trying to get here go down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to do that. And then in conjunction with that, you got to build the damn wall. I don't care if you do it by executive order or by hook or crook or military, whatever. Build the damn border and start enforcing it.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to get these people out of the country. It's just not realistic.
Right.
We don't have the resources and the manpower to do that.
Yeah, we had the problem under the Reagan administration with them getting in, the Jimmy Carter administration, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. Even during Trump, they were still getting in, but he started the wall business.
And the numbers went down. There were a lot fewer people trying to come here as opposed to just being able to walk straight across with no resistance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really, yeah. What I was trying to explore with you here, man, was what is the big threat? They need people. LGBT, those people, there aren't enough of them. They try using social guilt to fuck with us. They're idiots, fruitcakes, they're morons. And they're genociding themselves.
Yeah, it's a self-solving problem within a generation.
That too. Fucking morons. But who is the real threat? College students. They seem to be active, but they're not as violent as these illegals who are beating cops, robbing, raping, home invasion, carjacking, bank robberies, smash and grab store robberies. They seem to be a crowd that is pretty intent.
Those are the ones that'll be easy picking for deportation. You commit a crime, you're not a citizen, you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can do that over time and continue to do that over time. But, as far as mass deportations, you're talking about a drop in the bucket.
Well, this whole coddling of them as well, giving them, whether they get a luxury hotel room or another free hotel room or a halfway house or wherever they're putting in the food they don't like, they're bitching about the free food they're getting. If it's illegal for them to be here, will they be told, get the fuck out? You cannot spend public money on illegal aliens.
Hey,
what happens to these people? They don't get jobs. They can't pay taxes.
All these mayors and government officials that are authorizing, approving, and dispersing our tax dollars to support a bunch of illegals, they need to be arrested and thrown in jail.
Okay.
That is a dereliction of duties, in my opinion. I mean,
I think that's a criminal offense.
Yeah. I mean, you're aiding and abetting.
Yeah. Aiding and abetting.
I don't know what the exact laws are and how that works, but I mean, you're aiding and abetting criminals.
Period.
Yeah. Sanctuary city. You declare a sanctuary city. Everybody on that council that declared it a sanctuary city should be in jail.
Yeah. Aiding and abetting. So we just have to get to a point where everyone's so pissed off and the other side, someone comes to power, and we're just moving towards that world where it's just conflict. Yeah. Anyways, we're done for right now, man. We're going to do Sunday Night Live, 3 p.m. Pacific, but it'll be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. in Uman's time zone. But yeah, same time, same bat channel, Sunday Night Live, the zoo. We're going to be there, and maybe something will happen between now and then that'll help us sharpen our keen senses, Uman, and and we'll figure out where the big threat's coming. And regardless, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and this stuff is your protection against whatever comes our way.
Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks for coming out to play.
You bet. Great parting words, Mr. Uman. Let's roll. I'll see you all later. For now, hasta la vista, baby. Semper Fi. God bless America.